Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to The Chase, a podcast about all things ballparks with a little ballpark history mixed in and whatever other baseball talk we want to get into. So, this is episode 6. This will be the next episode in our ballpark series. So, today we are going to talk about loanDepot Park, home of the Miami Marlins. I visited loanDepot in August of 2025 when I was actually on a business trip to Miami, and I took in 2 games there. So just want to go over a little bit about it. Like I do with most of my videos and podcasts, I like to start off with some history about the ballpark. So the Miami Marlins inaugural season was 1993. When they came into the league, they actually played at Sun Life Stadium over in Miami Gardens. That originally was Joe Robbie Stadium. That was the name of it when it was built in 1987. They eventually shared that field with the Miami Dolphins. In 2012, Marlins Park was built in the Little Havana neighborhood, currently known as, of course, loanDepot Park today. It was built on the site of the old University of Miami's Orange Bowl. And like I said, it sits in the Little Havana neighborhood, so it's in a very residential section of Miami. In 2021, Marlins Park was renamed loanDepot Park when the naming rights were won by loanDepot, which is the nation's second largest non-bank retail lender. So the Miami Marlins played their first game at Marlins Park on August 4th, 2012, with a loss to the Cardinals. Some events that loanDepot has hosted. So in 2017, they hosted the MLB All-Star Game. They've been host to the World Baseball Classic for 2 years, 2023 and 2026. Looking at some numbers for loanDepot, the capacity is currently 37,446. The outfield dimensions down left field is 344 feet, 400 feet to straightaway center, and 335 feet down the right field line. A couple of other notable facts about loanDepot. They were the first MLB ballpark to use color-changing LED lights in their field lighting. A lot of ballparks have gone to that now, so that they were cutting edge when they put that LED lighting in. Some other notables about loanDepot. So, every ballpark has their little quirks, their things that they're known for. So let's look at some of the things that loanDepot has that kind of makes it stand out. So if you were there in the past, so pre-2018, you may remember in the behind the center field wall, there was a giant sculpture, kind of the whole Miami, South Florida, South Beach kind of vibe. Just big home run statue. They after the 2018 season, they actually moved that outside of the ballpark. It is now situated near one of the gates that will greet you as you come in, and they replaced it with a bar out in center field as well as some standing room only sections. Thanks to an entire wall of retractable windows beyond the center field fence area, you could actually see the entire Miami skyline from certain sections of the ballpark. It's really cool, especially if you go to seat down the first base line. You got a great view of the Miami skyline, even when these retractable windows are closed. So they have a bobblehead museum. This is one of the coolest things that I like there. Me being a big bobblehead collector, this is pretty cool. So out in center field, on the concourse there, the main concourse, they have a bobblehead museum from bobbleheads from all the different teams. I'm going to pop a video up here and show you a quick a little 360-degree walk around of it. So this is their bobblehead museum. Like I said, located in center field out in the concourse area. If you go up to the second level of the ballpark, now a lot of times, depending on the size of the crowd, this area will be closed for seating. Their suites are up there. Some of their club seats are up there. If you have a main level ticket, you're not able to go up there for concessions or to get a seat or whatever. However, they do have what's called their Legends level. It's the Marlins Hall of Fame and Museum. So you go to the top of the escalator. Hall of Fame's to the left, I believe it is, and museums to the right. And it's just what you would expect: some artifacts and some memorabilia from their 2 World Series wins, as well as some of their players that they've retired jersey numbers for and whatnot. So that's all up on the second level, and you could access that from the escalator down the third base line towards left field. There's an escalator going up there. It'll take you up. As you know, Miami is an enclosed retractable dome stadium. The roof itself consists of 3 panels spanning 560 feet from track to track, just short of 2 football fields in length, or roughly covers 5.27 acres. So it's pretty big. It takes roughly 13 to 15 minutes to fully open or close, and it travels about 39 feet per minute. So if you're ever inside at one of these retractable dome stadiums, it's kind of cool to see the roof opening and closing. The roof panels can be operated independently too. So if they want to provide some micro shading effects, they could definitely do that. It was the 5th retractable roof built over an MLB ballpark. And the Marlins post the roof status daily on their website. So you can go on, and if you're going to a game and you're curious about whether the roof's open or not, you can go on their website, go on the ballpark section under loanDepot on the Marlins page there, and it'll give you the roof status. So let's talk about information you're going to want to know if you're chasing loanDepot. So how about where to sit? So as I talk about this, I'm going to pop up some pictures of the different sections to kind of give you a visual on where you can sit. So this first picture I pop up here, this is section 11. As you can see, it's a home plate area just up the first baseline. This probably gives you the best view of the Miami skyline, as you can see. All right, this is section 16, opposite side of home plate, kind of going up the third baseline there. This is section 24. This is actually where I sat for my first game there, a little bit further up the third baseline. Section 32. So this is in the left field area, directly above the bullpen bar and grill, which we're going to talk about here shortly. I actually was row 1 here, so right along the fence there. So pretty good view. And lastly, section 139. So this is way up 2 rows from the top in section 139, which is right field. Now, I will tell you this. If you end up sitting up that high, there's a pretty significant temperature change. I bet you it's easily 10, 12, maybe even 15 degrees warmer sitting up there. So take that into consideration. The days I was there, it was middle of August, so it was very comfortable in the ballpark. However, you went up top there, and I made the mistake of getting my little helmet Sunday. Went up there to sit and take some pictures, and it melted pretty quickly up there because it was pretty warm. So take that into consideration. So let's look at a few other things. So the main team store is actually located on the West Plaza exterior of the ballpark near Gate 1. I'm going to pop a map up here to kind of show you where that's located. Let's talk about parking. So parking can be purchased through the Marlins website or the Ballpark app for $16. I think, if I remember correctly, you have to enter your license plate number and a little bit more information. But $16 to park. Parking is very, very close. And I'm going to pop another picture up here, and this will show you. So loanDepot is smack dab in the center of 4 parking garages, and all of them will drop you literally across the street from one of the gate entrances. So parking is very convenient and easy getting in and out as well. I drove to the ballpark both days, and getting in and getting out was a breeze. So if you're thinking about staying in the area, understand, like I said before, loanDepot is situated in a pretty residential area. There's some businesses around, but for the most part, you're in a residential neighborhood. So there's not a whole lot of variety or even availability of hotels. However, if you travel east of the ballpark over towards Biscayne Bay, there's a ton of hotels over there. Now, if you're staying in, downtown Miami, you have access to hotels there, obviously, as well. But if you're going just to the ballpark, just be aware there's not a whole lot of hotels definitely within walking distance, so keep that in mind as well. So some food options, I'm not going to go through all of them. That's really not the purpose of this. If you want a further rundown of what all food options there are, I do have a full-length video of loanDepot Park on my YouTube channel, so check that out. I kind of do a walk around and show you what all the food options are. I will show you 2 pictures, however. The 2 things that I went with when I was there were the Mojo Pork Street Tacos and the Chicken and Rice Bowl from Baseball. This was probably my favorite thing that I had there. It's pretty good. They also have, in that same section, It's called the Lineup. So there's a couple restaurants. It's actually tucked behind that escalator I was telling you about that goes up to the Legends level. It's roughly that general area. There was a Cuban place there. A Cuban sandwich is supposed to be top notch. I didn't have time to try that. A few other options, or I'm sorry, a few other items let's talk about. So gate times. Gate times is 90 minutes before the first pitch, regardless of time of game or day of the week. Gates will open 90 minutes before first pitch, unless you have premium club access. Then you can get in a little bit earlier. And of course, that information's on Marlins' website. Their bag policy, you are allowed to take in a clear bag as long as it is under the 16-inch by 16-inch by 8-inch regulation that most ballparks have. If you're talking, if you're interested in taking a ballpark tour, let's talk about that. So they actually offer several options here. So the first one we're going to talk about is called the behind the scenes tour. Some of the locations that you will get to see on this tour is the PNC Club. You'll actually get to step out onto the field, get some pictures from the infield warning track there. You'll go to the visitors dugout, the visitors clubhouse, the press box, the Hall of Fame suite, and the Legends Museum. That tour is $20. And as usual, you can find all this stuff on their website as well. The pregame tour. So locations for that, you get to go to the service tunnels, the PNC Club, the Bullpen Bar and Grill, which I am going to talk about here in a little bit, Hall of Fame Suite, Legends Museum, and then you actually get to view batting practice from the clubhouse box seat. So that's pretty cool. For that one, it's select game days, so you have to check the schedule. And you get in 3 hours before first pitch. So that's actually what time the tour starts. That tour is $40, and you have to purchase a game ticket to get into this tour. So if you don't have a game ticket, you can't get into this tour because you get to stay in the ballpark after the tour is over. They have a VIP pregame tour. So again, locations, you get to go to the service tunnel, the PNC Club, the Bullpen Bar and Grill, Hall of Fame suites, a lot of the same areas you hit with the other ones, Legends Museum. You get field access for the Marlins and visiting teams batting practice, so that's pretty cool. Same thing, it's available for select games. This starts 3.5 hours before first pitch. So depending on time of the game, will determine what time your tour starts. This one starts at $125 per person just because it's a little bit more in depth and you get to watch batting practice. And just like the pregame tour, you must have a game ticket to be able to access this tour. All right, so let's talk about Chase Collectibles. This is a big thing with me. I mention it in every podcast and every video that I do. I love collecting stuff when I go to these ballparks for the first time. So I like to share what's available with you all. So let's talk about game used baseball specifically. So behind section 12 on the third base line, there is an Authentics kiosk. It's right next to one of the Fanatics team stores. And there'll be a ballpark attendant working there. Now, when I visited, she actually handed me a piece of paper, or had a piece of paper there, basically. I took a picture of it, and it had a price list of everything. And so, of course, I was looking for a game used baseball. So I emailed, and the website, again, is on, or I'm sorry, the email address is on their website. If you go to the Authentic section on their website, I think it's like gameused@marlins.com or something like that. But I reached out to them after the game was over. They said normally they have game day baseballs there available after like the 6th inning, but for some reason, the 2 games I was there, they didn't. However, once I got home, I emailed them, and the process was very simple. I told them I wasn't looking for anything special, just a random game used baseball for the game I was at. They sent me an invoice, paid it, and then they shipped it and sent me shipping information, and it arrived within a week. I had also reached out to them in regards to, same email address, getting a paper ticket. Again, I'm a traditionalist. I love my paper tickets. And they actually sent me paper tickets for $15. Now, it wasn't my specific section or row that I was sitting in. They were from the exact game that I was at. So basically, they were leftover tickets from the game I was at that didn't sell. But it was still that same game, so I was happy with that. But I think he sent me like 3 or 4 tickets in the mail. First game certificate. So you have 2 options here. You can get a button in person if you go to the kiosk. And I want to say it's down around section, I think it's like, maybe section 17, 18, something like that. There's a kiosk there, a fan services kiosk, and you can get yourself a first game button. However, if you go on the Marlins website, there is an area there to fill out for an first game certificate, and you could actually download it right there and then print it out or save it wherever you want to do. So you can get both a button and a first game certificate. Let's talk about the bullpen bar and grill. Finally, I think this is probably the coolest part of the ballpark. It is situated behind the left field fence, and I'm going to put a video up here to show you my walkthrough. It's accessible for batting practice, and this is a great area if you get in there early enough to go stand for batting practice. The day I was there must have been 15, 20 baseballs that ended up in the bar and grill area. And there were a lot of people standing there and got some souvenir baseballs. However, anybody can get in. There's no ticket and there's no cost to get in. If you've got a ticket to the game, it's accessible for everybody. As you can see, there's tables, there's chairs, there's a bar. You could sit there and eat, and you can watch the game. Obviously, as you can see in this video, you can see through the left field fence, so you could watch the game. They got TVs here as well. It's just kind of a really cool area. Overall, I know loanDepot gets a lot of slack. A lot of flack. Just they think it's kind of warehouse style. It's cold. I really enjoyed it. One thing that I did notice, and it's we're not gonna we're not gonna be shy about this. The Marlins, they're having a decent year right now, but they just haven't drawn a big crowd. So there wasn't. I think attendance both games was around 7,000, and there was actually a large presence of Cardinal fans there because that was the visiting team. But the energy that the home fans brought made it seem like there were more fans there than there really was. Um, and the energy, like the music and just the in between innings entertainment and stuff like that was top notch. It really was. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time there. I would definitely go back to loanDepot. So that's just kind of my little PSA about loanDepot. So that pretty much covers what I wanted to talk about. If you have any questions about the ballpark, feel free to comment below. If you've been to loanDepot, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Let me know what you enjoyed there, what your favorite food was, and anything else you'd like to talk about loanDepot. So if you found this episode helpful, do me a favor, give it a like. As I mentioned earlier, if you haven't done so already, check out my long form and short form content on my YouTube channel. I'm constantly adding more videos, more shorts, stuff like that, more podcasts, episodes as well. And lastly, do me a favor, if you haven't done so already, can you click that subscribe button down below? That will help me continue to be able to bring you these podcasts, these videos, and information on ballparks. And if there's ever any ballpark or attraction or anything you would like to see me go and cover, comment, let me know. I'm always looking for new things. So give this podcast a like if you enjoyed it and you thought it was helpful. And this is the Ballpark Nomad. Happy chasing.